I totally hear one of the twins escaping. We'll see if Audrey goes to collect them. Oh my goodness. One was asleep. Okay, get this. I put the twins down. They are totally boycotting naps. One of them falls to sleep. They've been screaming for the last hour, so I'm like, okay, naps. I put one down and he falls asleep. The other one climbs out of his crib and he's trying to hand a digger to his twin brother, screaming in his face while the other one's sleeping. Digger! So, hey, I'm so glad you're all here. Hey, in the chat, put where you're from. I'd love to see where you're all from. Your 2-year-olds are awake too. Okay, I do not feel so alone. We could probably bring them in here. We might have to. I can hear Audrey up there saying, go back to bed. Hey, Louisiana, Tulsa. Oh my goodness, awesome. Long Island. Oh, they're going so fast, I can't read them. Charlotte, Georgia. Another one from Louisiana. Hey, Jenny from Tulsa. Awesome. I know they're doing that nap strike thing. Thank you, Audrey. They're doing that nap strike thing, but I'm not giving up. Tri-Cities, that's not too far from me. Seattle, that's not too far either. Hello, Isabel from El Dorado Hills, California. Nice to be. I'm so glad you're here. I know, what's with the boycotting nap kids? I don't know what it's about. We have to persist or we will die. I'm determined. Colorado and South Carolina. So good to see all of you. Okay, I'm not going to make this one too long because I don't want to take up the scope airwaves for too long. Shalita from Texas. What I wanted to do is we've been doing a series on how we homeschool, and you can get all the replays for the series so far at sarahmckenzie.tv. So if you head to sarahmckenzie.tv, it will take you to a page on my site where we put all the replays. Am I crooked? Oh, you're watching from England. Awesome. What's your name? Put your name on there so I can say hello to you personally. So you can see all the replays from Puerto Rico. How fun is that? Awesome. Oh, Felipa. Wonderful. I'm so glad to have you. Okay, so yes, the whole series is how we homeschool. This is the 4th. Is that right? Or the 5th? In the series, we did one on my overall big picture view of kind of how we homeschool, my favorite tools. We did one on morning time, one on morning rotations, which is our one-on-one time with my one-on-one time with each of my big kids. One on how I use spiral notebooks. Okay, this is my 5th. Ah, somebody knew. Joni, you knew. Thank you. Yes, this is the 5th. So I thought I would show you what my big picture plan looks like. Because I'm surely not the only one who loves checklists and checking boxes. So give me a big yes in the comments if you like to check boxes yourself. Because those spiral notebooks help me kind of not get overwhelmed with having my kids just check all the boxes and think that means they're accomplishing something. Look at all those yeses. How fun is that? Yeah, so those spiral notebooks help me kind of keep my enthusiasm at bay when I want to assign my kids like a million things to do. But there's a serious endorphin release that happens when you check boxes. And I think it's really important as homeschool moms that we feel like we're making progress and we can see progress, because it's really demoralizing if you can't kind of see what you're doing. So I'm going to show you mine. They're very simple. And I make them once at the beginning of the year. I tweak them I'll tell you. I'll give you the lowdown. So again, if you're just joining us, you can see all of the replays from my Periscope series at sarahmckenzie.tv. Do I use a schoolroom? Yeah, we're in it. We don't, so trying to decide if it's clean enough to show you. It's pretty darn clean. I was punishing children today with chores. So my house is cleaner than normal. Okay, so this is like the schoolroom where we keep like books and things. Oh, there's the toddler's train table. We don't really school in here. We just keep, this is the dining room. See the chandelier? It's like the formal dining room in my house. Which we obviously don't, it's carpeted. So hello, like I'm going to use that to feed my children on. No, I don't think so. So we just use it mostly as like almost a library for our school stuff. There are a couple desks. This part's not very clean. There are a couple desks over here, and yeah, there's a lot of boxes that we need to deal with. Anyway, if they're cleared off, we can use those desks, but for the most part, I work with whoever I'm working with at the time at the kitchen table, 99% of the time. And then kids can, if they're doing their own independent work, sometimes they go into the another room. Like we have an office where it has a computer. Sometimes they just take it up to their room or, you know, out underneath the trampoline or whatever. Sometimes they work in here, but we don't really like work in a schoolroom. I need to be super close to the kitchen and the laundry room at all times. So where do I get my adorable headbands? Thank you, Carrie. I get them at an Etsy shop called Precocious. I just went to go order some more and saw that she's closed for a little bit, but it sounds like she'll be back. I'll put a link. So if you go to sarahmckenzie.tv, we are getting these replays up there, and we're putting links in for show notes for each of the scopes. So I'll make sure there's a link to her shop in the show notes to this scope, because I get asked that question all the time. She's local here to Washington State, and she works out of her home, makes them on Etsy. They're awesome. They're double. Here, I'm going to show you. Actually, I did this at a wedding I was at like a week or two ago. I thought my children were going to be horrified. I'm like taking off my headband, showing them both sides. Okay, it's reversible. So get this. Different pattern, and I can just put it back in. Pretty awesome, right? I love them. They're awesome. I'll give you a link. Okay, I'm getting totally distracted. So, review of scope sets. Okay, so I'm reading my notes. Don't forget to tell them. Replays are at, oh, your kids love giving me hearts. Oh, thank you. That's so fun. sarahmckenzie.tv. It's taken us a couple days to get them up. Tomorrow morning is Thursday, right? Tomorrow morning, the replay for the Spiral Notebooks Periscope is going up. So it should be up early. And so if you missed that one, you'll be able to see it tomorrow. And then that's the last one from this. So this one will be up for replay later, and you'll get all the show notes for there. So the best way to know, people keep asking, I seem ADD like you. I seem ADD, do you think so? Oh my gosh, my poor children. People keep asking me, when do you scope? And I cannot scope on a schedule. It's that whole toddler nap strike thing. So I'm hopping on whenever I think I have like 15 minutes and I'm wearing lip gloss and I remember to put mascara on. So it works. And so the best way to know when I'm live is just to follow me right on Periscope, because then you'll get those notifications when I'm live. And then the best way to know when there's replays is to go to that website, that webpage at sarahmckenzie.tv, and just sign up for updates. And then I'll send out email updates to let you know when they're there. Okay, someone says, who is us when you say it takes us a few days to get the show notes up? If you go to my site, amongstlovelythings.com/about, you'll get introduced to my team, because I definitely don't work alone. There's no way that website would be doing what it's doing if I was by myself, doing it by myself. So, okay. Today I want to show you these very simple big picture plans. I need a check sheet, I need a box I can check, and I also, when you're kind of in the thick of it, I really needed, all year, I need a way to kind of assess, are we even making close to the amount of progress I thought we were making? And sometimes that just means, if we're not, sometimes that just means that I'm not, you know, maybe my expectations were a little unrealistic. And sometimes it means maybe we haven't been working that hard. So it's kind of helpful for me to have a gauge. So what I do is I make each kid, I call them a syllabus, even though it's not really a syllabus. It's really just a big picture plan. So we have one for our family work, and I'll show you these a little closer. And then I have one for each kid individually. And anything that the kids are going to do for school, they go on these big picture plans. These are not something I use to make my weekly, like when I showed you on my Spiral Notebook Periscope that I take like the homework board and what they need to do each day on that master spiral notebook list, and I make the plan for the week. That's not, I don't use these for that. Usually once a week I go into these and I check off the things that we accomplished, and I get this big endorphin rush. And that's pretty much the extent of it. But at the beginning of the year I make these so that I know, what is everybody doing? What is everybody doing for writing? What is everybody doing for math? Does one kid have like 3 pages of stuff and another kid have 1? I've totally done that before without realizing it. So in my teacher book, which I've shown you before on these scopes, I have the little different dividers. And so we have plan, which is where I, let's see, we have plan, which is where I put like my spiral notebook master that I use every single week, or every single night actually, when I write their spiral notebooks. It also has like an ideal day, an average day. Brandy Venzel taught me that. An average day plan. And then I have a morning time file where I tuck away all the things that we're doing in morning time. I showed you that in the morning time scope. That one is available at sarahmckenzie.tv now. Then I have one called Family, and that's where I put this big picture family plan. And then I have one for each of my individual kids get their own. And so at the end of each week, usually at the end of the week, sometimes I do it twice a week if I need like a little boost, I'll go in and go, what have we accomplished? Can I mark anything off here? And that's helpful. So I make these. Somebody asked what I use to make these. I have a Mac, and so I use the, Stacy, thank you, super cute outfit. Thank you. You know what? I'm totally doing the ADD thing again. I had a minor freak out this week. My kids and I are going on this trip, which I'll tell you about in a minute, and we're leaving in a few days, and I started to pack, and I had one of those, like, trying on clothes. I'm like, I don't have anything to wear. And my poor husband, I texted him in the middle of his work day and told him that I had a moment. And so his response was, okay, tonight we'll make arrangements and we'll go on a date. And seriously, he made arrangements, and that night he took me to the mall and bought me a whole bunch of new tops and a new jacket. He totally spoiled me rotten. So where do I get the cute tabs and dividers? I think I just got these at Target, but I know I've seen these particular dividers on Amazon. There is a link. I think it's in one of the show notes. I think it might be in the first scope that has a link to them, but they're like Avery rounded. You can find them on I know, right? He's the best husband ever. I know. Completely. Okay, I will try not to go ADD on you so much. So let me show you these. And I will have these in the show notes. I will have these up for you to download, just like, so that you can grab them and see what they are. But I make these, I use a Mac, and so I make these in Pages. Super easy, like insert a table. You could make them in Word, you could make them in Excel, you could make them a whole bunch of different ways. They look fancier than they are. They're really not difficult to make. So let me show you the family one. Do one at a time so you can't see the bleed through. So for family work, we do our religion all together. I'll hold it here if you want to do screenshots. Let's see if I can hold it back. There we go. There you go. Okay, so the top is family work, and there's, we have 4 terms in our school year. And so I've picked whatever, I can't read it, sorry, I'm going to turn it a little bit, whatever our read-aloud is for each term right here. And then what we're going to use for Saints this year is Around the Year, Once Upon a Time Saints by Ethel Pachoki, which I love, and The Moral Compass for Virtue Formation. So basically, this is just my way of knowing what are we doing at different times of the year for each term, so I'm not kind of racking my brain. It's my overall lesson plan, right? It's my syllabus. We're going to be working through teaching the classics, or using, not really working, oh my goodness, did you hear that? That was a bird. That is the second time that's happened on Periscope. That's crazy. I swear we don't have birds coming into our windows all the time, but you'd never believe that. Whew, okay. So we're not really working through teaching the classics. We just use the ideas in teaching the classics in that system. And I have 4 books scheduled and 4 empty spots, so we can use whichever books we want. And then, what's at the bottom? Oh, memory work. Okay, we are memorizing the Sermon on the Mount. Okay, yep, I got that question. I'll answer it in just a sec. And so we're starting with just Matthew 5. Sermon on the Mount is Matthew 5, 6, and 7. And I just thought we'll just start with Awesome 5. I just renamed the gospel. We'll start with Matthew 5, and we'll just go from there. And so there's 48 verses in Matthew 5, so I just put each verse in its own box, and once we've mastered it, I tick it off. And we're memorizing that puppy a lot faster than I thought we would, so that's kind of exciting. And then we're also all learning the Classical Conversations timeline song, so I just put that on here. So one of my little principles or rules is that if we're using something, it needs to go on one of these syllabi. So at the end of the year, when I'm kind of documenting what we've learned and what we've done, I have one place I can go look and I know everything that we've done. So I just list it on here. We don't check it off or anything. We actually have not gotten into it yet this year, but hopefully next term we will. And then I wrote down we're reading Listening for Lions by Gloria Whelan, and that is not on our list, so I just added it by scrolling it on the bottom. Then we're doing Fine Art Appreciation. I talked about this in the morning time scope, and so you can find out about it more on that one. But basically I have the Monet Art Study from Simple Charlotte Mason. We're going to do 6 of the prints and read the biography, so I just put them each in their own box. Basically, the idea is when we finish one, I have a place I can mark it off. Also, Taming of the Shrew is divided into 3 sections using the Simply Charlotte Mason guide. Read the story, hear the script, and watch the play. So as we complete each of those sections, we'll check it off. It kind of seems a little silly maybe, except that I really love checking things off, and it makes me feel really productive. So I like it. And then there's this book that I showed you in morning time that is called Draw Europe, and so I just put page numbers, pages. I just randomly chose them too, broke them down completely, went 6 to 10, 10 to 15. So basically, as we're working through it, I have something to kind of mark. So I'm a very visual person. And so if I can look at a glance and see, okay, there's like 10 boxes here and half of them are checked off and our school year is halfway done, we're good to go. Or not, and then I can reassess. So that's what the family one looks like. And each of the kids looks very similar. So I just write down every single thing each child is doing. So Allison's my 6th grader, and she's using math or Saxon 7-6. So I took every single lesson and put it in its own box. And whenever she finishes it, I mark it off. And the investigations and the tests. Ooh, and I need to mark some of these off. That's kind of fun because we're a little further than that. I also made a book list. I talked about that in an earlier scope. I don't think we put that on the replay page. I'll have to go find it. I talked about the books that I've assigned to my kids this year, and so I put those here, and when they finish reading one and they've talked to me about it, then we mark it off on their syllabus. And then same thing, like writing, she's using that writing and rhetoric program, Crea and Proverb, and so I put each of the sections, each of the units here. So really all it is I'm taking each of the things they're learning, I'm breaking it down into chunks, and I'm putting it on a big spreadsheet. And this is the spreadsheet for the whole year, and so I can see at a glance what we finished. And things that don't go in a spreadsheet are like a list, and I just keep it there too. Personal reading, piano lessons, typing instructor, homework for their co-ops. So all the different classes they're taking, their co-ops, I list. Again, because the principle that I use is everything has to be in one spot. So that if someone goes, hey, what are your kids learning this? No one's going to do that. But, if I want to remember what are my kids learning this year, especially after something like a Christmas break, and I'm kind of stressed out and I can't remember what we were doing, one spot. So somebody had a good question that I said I would answer. Oh, virtue. Okay, so on the religion, you saw me that I put virtue here, and I put the moral compass. We actually haven't really started on this year, so I was kind of experimenting with this format. So far, all we've done during this is, we just finished today, My Path to Heaven. Our first term is our shortest one, and then the next 3 are longer. So I'm hoping that I will be able to alternate between reading our religious book and reading either about saints or a book from the Moral Compass. Or it's saying Moral Compass is by William Bennett. Have it. Grab it. Oh, it doesn't have the cover on it, but it's, here. Yeah. I guess it'd be easier if I go like this. Same guy who wrote the Book of Virtue. And I'm just going to read from it, and we'll talk. Well, either they'll narrate it back, or I'll ask them one of our 5 questions that we use at the Read-Aloud Revival to have good conversations with our kids, or I'll just read it and let it seep in and let God do his work on their hearts without me having to do too much, like hammering in of the virtues. Oh no, okay, this makes you feel so unorganized. Don't let it make you feel that way. A couple of things. If this overwhelms you, then I don't think it's helpful. It's only helpful to me because it helps me feel more peaceful when I see the progress we're making consistently. So if you think having a big checklist would be a good idea, like a big place where you can keep everything they're doing and mark it off at the end of every week or every month, then I think it's worth taking, 2 hours to sit and do it. And if it's not going to be helpful to you, then totally scrap it. This is not for my kids. This is completely for me and for my ability to feel like we're making progress. Somebody asked, I think, about Shakespeare and said, are we just using that for 1 6-week term? That's a good question because I'm trying to remember. I have to look. See, this is why I have to have everything written down because I don't remember. Okay, yeah, morning time, we are doing Shakespeare term 3. That's a 9-week term. I just know that off the top of my head, but that's a 9-week term. I'll show you our... I plan out our school year on this big picture sheet. Okay, we give these away free at the Read-Aloud Revival, these calendars that look like this. I'm trying to think of where you can get it. If you just head to sarahmckenzie.tv after this is over, I'll make sure it's on that main page where you can just grab them and print them out. We have them for like a calendar year, so we have 2016 for the whole year, and then we have this as a school year. And so what I did here is I made, okay, so first, we don't do like 6-week terms or 4 12-week terms, because this year I'm speaking a ton. And so in March, I am going to be gone speaking like half the month. It is crazy. There's a couple different times this year. Well, actually, my husband and I told us that I would speak 6 times this year, and I'm speaking 10 because it's really fun. And so anyway, so we have to kind of build our homeschool year around when I'm going to be home and my husband can take over and things will work. And so basically what I did is I marked in gray I don't know if you can tell the colors very well, weeks that we're going to be completely gone, and then I just planned out my terms from there. So like yellow is term 1, green is term 2. So anyway, I will show you where you can download these if you want. The other thing we do with these on the Read-Aloud Revival is we say just put an X on any day that you've read aloud and put it on your fridge, because you'll see all those X's and be like, hey, I read aloud all the time to my kids, which is really satisfying. Yeah, I do have a schedule on my blog where I'm speaking at amongstlovelythings.com/speaking. And I'm going to be all over the place, so chances are good I'll be in your region, so let me know if you have any questions about those. I think I missed a bunch of questions about Simply Charlotte Mason stuff, but if you have any more questions about that, throw them up and I'll watch that. Or if you have any questions at all about anything I've talked about, throw them in and I will keep my eye on the comments. I'm sure I know I missed a couple. They move by really fast, and if I'm yammering on, I miss them. Any in California? Yes. In June, I'm going to be in Ontario, California at the Great Homeschool Convention. And in the beginning of December, I'm going to be in San Diego at an Advent retreat. I don't have any more details on that. We're working on that, trying to figure out if that's open or closed or what the deal is with that. Tulsa. No, I don't think I'm going to Oklahoma. But check the speaker page and see if something is close enough to you. This is my geography knowledge. I'm looking at my map like, what's by Oklahoma? I'm going to be in Texas. In March, so they asked what we were doing for Shakespeare. Oh yeah, okay, that's in the morning time scope. So if you go to sarahmckenzie.tv and you look at the morning time one, I tell you all about it. It's Simply Charlotte Mason's Shakespeare. And yes, I'll be in San Diego in December. Check out the website. We don't have a link for that event anywhere at the moment, so I don't really have a whole lot of details, but we're just now, Courtney and I are working on getting that, finding out if that's open or closed or what. To watch that speaking page, it's amongstlovelythings.com/speaking. Dallas, I'll be in Dallas in March at the Great Homeschool Convention. And South Carolina, yes, I'll be in South Carolina in March. March is crazy for the Great Homeschool Convention. In Texas, I'll be in Dallas, Fort Worth. So it's all there. Okay. One more thing before I go. So speaking of speaking, I'm speaking at a private event for the Institute for Excellence in Writing for the IEW team. Super excited because I'm speaking with Andrew Pudewa, which I mean, like, I love Andrew Pudewa. So we're leaving this weekend and I'm taking my 3 big kids with me. It's in Orlando, Florida. So naturally we have to go a couple days early and do Disney World. So anyway, we're going to go do that. And I was thinking maybe, I don't know if he'll probably think I'm insane. I kind of think he thinks I'm insane anyway, but I'm totally willing to risk it. So I think what I'll do is I'll try to get Andrew Pudewa on a scope with me. So that's next weekend, not weekend, but like toward the end of next week. So make sure you're like following me on Periscope so that when we go live with that one, you can jump on, because if I convince him, and I'm sure he will look at me like I am completely off my rocker, and tell him, all these people are going to come ask you questions. Let's do a scope. You guys have to show up and ask your questions. So be thinking of what you have to ask Andrew, and I'll do my darndest. I'll get him on. I'll try anyway. I'm pretty sure he'll say yes. So awesome. Yep. Pudewa and Periscope. He would rock it if he'd get on here. So maybe I'll convince him to hop on. He won't. Show him one of Dilly Bogart's. Yeah, he might not. Well, you know who else I'm going to try and get? Because I'm speaking with Andrew Kern a lot this year too, and so he's going to look at me like I'm totally crazy, but I'll get him on Periscope too if I'll work on him. We'll see if we can't do a couple at these conferences. I'll see if I can't do some Q&As and like just grab them for like 15 minutes. I'll try and give you guys a heads up before so you can think of questions if you have them, and we'll see if we can do some live Q&As. Yeah, right, fun. Okay, so the other question I had for you right before I go, I'm pretty sure Julie Bogart is either on or she's probably like about to go on. I don't want to take her time. So really quick, this is wrapping up the How We Homeschool Periscope series. And, oh, can I enable comments on the Periscope website? Yes, I didn't think about that. SarahMcKenzie.tv, you want comments there, right? Yes, I'll do that. So I was thinking what we could do next if you wanted. So let me know in the comments if you're like, talk about something else, or yes, you want this. Is I thought we could do a Periscope series on my book, Teaching from Rest, A Homeschooler's Guide to Unshakable Peace, where we could just take a chapter and I could read a little bit from you and chat with you and answer your questions about it. So give me a yes in the comments if you think that's a good idea, or a something else, say something else in the comments if you're wanting something else, and we can do that instead. Oh my gosh, my book matches my headband. I just realized that. Woo! Look at all those yeses. Okay. Yes, it's a hard copy. It's available in hard copy. You can get it from classicalacademicpress.com, or you can get it on Amazon. If you go to teachingfromrest.com, you can get the first 3 chapters as an, like PDF, the first 3 chapters for free. And then I have links to everywhere you can get it. But yep, it's the print version now. So, oh yeah, the picture's high on the wall. Like, let's see, these ones up here. These are from Classical Conversations. We love their timeline songs, so we get their timeline cards and hang them up around our schoolroom and then sing them. These cards over here behind me are just, somebody help me out. Who's the artist who does these? She also illustrates like the Baby Bear books. I'm gonna see if somebody in the comments can think of it. They're like number cards. Yeah, they're like alphabet cards. Eboo, yes, that's the company. E-B-O-O, Eboo. They put them out, and they're like number bird cards, and they're awesome. I love them. Yep, Eboo, that's right. The book is not in hard copy in the UK, but you're getting it sent over. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and it is on Kindle, so if you're an ebook reader or you're overseas and you can't spring for shipping, then it is on Kindle. I think it's in a few other ebook formats too on classicalacademicpress.com. It's the question I always get is how is it different from the first version, and it's about 35, close to 40% new content. And then Dr. Perrin put me through my paces, and so we did some edits on this puppy, and just much better than it was the first time. But when are we going to start that? We will start it after I get back from Orlando. So I get back on the 17th. So toward the end of the month, I'll give you all a heads up. I'll send, if you get on that list at sarahmckenzie.tv and you sign up for that, it says like subscribe for updates, do that, and I will send everybody on that list a heads up. Like, okay, Teaching from Rest book club is starting. This week we'll Periscope on this chapter. And for that, I probably will try to cajole my husband into giving me like a regular time I can hop on Periscope, maybe in the evening, so that we can talk about it so people don't miss it if they want. Speaking of, is it better, tell me in the comments, is it better during the day like this, or is it better in the evening for you to watch a scope? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Your 12-year-old wants to prank me and tell me I've got a booger or a spot on my shirt. I would so believe you too, because I've had twins on me all day that have been screaming, so boogers galore. Okay, daytime, evening, okay. Little both, mostly day, it looks like. Either one, okay. It's easier for me during the day if my toddlers nap, but then the evenings if they don't. So isn't that reliable? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to hop off and let you go about your day. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be back before too long. And hopefully the next time I see you, I'll be scoping from Florida. So have a wonderful afternoon. I'm like the world's dumbest Periscope user. I just dropped my phone. Okay.